Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the weeks of April 27th through May 10th. Today is Saturday, May 10th. So, it's been a couple of weeks. I got a little bit of reading done. I finished up the last book I needed to read for the Aurelian Magical Readathon. Happy to say that I did finish all of my classes for that, so that was great. I did read a couple other things, so I'll let you know about my thoughts on those things. What I'm currently reading, I'll have a little bit of a Yarnie update where I talk about some of the projects that I've been working on. I'll have a little bit of a yarn haul, an impromptu yarn haul. And then there were a couple of mystery pins that I didn't open from the last time we were at Disneyland. So I know I'd opened some mystery pin packs with you. I think it was in the last episode, I can't remember. But I forgot a couple, so I'll open those with you today, and then we'll do a little bit of life catch-up at the end. So let's get into it. First off with what I've read since I talked to you last. So I had one more read for the Aurelian Magical Readathon. I was going for my first term of Master of Elements. I am in the Order of the Crescent, and so I had one class left to complete. And that was for something that had a fruit on the cover. And I had told you that due to the amount of time I had left, I needed to pivot really fast and pick something else. And so I did. And I ended up reading Animal Crossing Deserted Island Diary Volume 6 by Kokonasu Rumba. This one is published by Viz, rated all ages. So this is basically just a story about some kids who take Tom Nook up on his offer to go and live on a deserted island. And you basically have like the gameplay of Animal Crossing New Horizons by following these kids. There's lots of hijinks and hilarity. You meet all of the villagers that they encounter and things like that. In this volume, we do a lot of Happy Home Paradise planning. And so you get to see how that all works and how homes are created for some of the villagers and stuff. There is also a little section at the end of the volumes, which I always appreciate, where the mangaka talks about their island and some changes that had happened, or maybe they had a roster change. And so I really enjoy checking in on their island as well. I really enjoyed this one. Hijinks and hilarity. I mean, it's very, very comedic. Sometimes it's a little too much for me, but it's still very fun, very entertaining. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And this one you have coconuts up here. These are coconuts. And then in his drink there is a little cherry. So, fruits on the cover. In this one we meet Paula, Monty, Kit, Billy, Greta, and Diana. And so I always appreciate having this little lineup on the back as well, because I know which characters are going to be featured in the stories. But enjoyed this, looking forward to more volumes of that. So with that, my Aurelian Magical Readathon was complete. I did get all of my entries in for my classes, so I did very, very good this spring. So we'll see what happens when fall semester comes. That should be my last semester for Master of Elements, and then I'll decide whether I'm going to choose another profession or another line of classes, or if I'm gonna not participate in Aurelian. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, how I'm feeling on that at the moment. I'll probably figure it out sometime after I finish the fall semester. I do enjoy it. It's just, I don't think readathons are where I'm at as far as reading right now. And my reading has slowed down a lot, especially because of all of the stress that I've had lately. And so, yeah, but by fall, I hope everything will be smoothed out in any case. Let's get back on track. Got off on a tangent. And since I wasn't able to read the book that I had intended on reading for my classes, I decided to go ahead and pick it up anyway, now that the kind of pressure to finish it was off the table. So I did start Snow White Red-Handed. This is the first book in the Fairy Tale Fatal Mystery series by Maia. This is a story where we follow a couple of actresses, and they end up like joining a household as maids. And the people from the house, from what I gather, have found what they believe to be Snow White's home, where she lived with the 7 dwarves. There is also a skeleton of what could be one of the dwarves, and so they're trying to figure out if it actually is Snow White's house. This did not agree with me. I am not much of a historical story enjoyer. I used to really enjoy historicals when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I don't enjoy them anymore at all. And this one I thought was going to be okay. It's cozy mystery. Thought it was going to be okay because there is fairy tale elements to it. So I thought, okay, even though it's like historical, it wouldn't like feel historical. There should be enough there where I can like not feel like it's real life historical. Unfortunately, this reads very much like historical literature. The way that the sentence structures are done, the phrasing that they use, it just was not for me. So I think I got up to chapter like 3 or 4. It was very, very early in the book, and I was just like, I am not wanting to pick this up anymore. It does say 1867 over here in the back, but again, I thought that since this had fairy tale elements in it, that I would be okay, and I just wasn't. I didn't enjoy the character that we were following. Things just didn't feel interesting to me. So I did decide to go ahead and DNF, and I won't be continuing with that series either, obviously. So fortunately I had another DNF. I did switch over to Bone Canyon after that by Lee Goldberg. This is the second book in the Eve Ronin series. I read Lost Hills, which is the first book for March Mystery Madness, as my In Memory of Scott selection, and so we had these books out from the library. My mom's read through all of them. She really, really enjoyed them, and so I'm trying to get them read before they go back to the library. This one follows Eve and her partner trying to investigate some corpses that were found after there was a brush fire on the side of a mountain, which uncovered a bunch of bodies. And so you follow them like doing the investigation on these, what basically are skeletal remains at this point. Really interesting case. I enjoyed this one a lot. I didn't have the culprit on my radar at all, which is very, very appreciated, because nowadays I'm always like, oh, it's this guy, oh, it's this guy. This one I didn't really feel like that. I was just kind of enjoying the story as we were going, which is something new for me, but it was really, really good experience. And yeah, really enjoyed this one. I will say that these are much darker, like mysteries. There's a bit of retribution happening to Eve. I think I had mentioned to you in the first one that she's like the youngest homicide detective in her division at Lost Hills. There's a lot of people who don't like her because of how she was promoted, which was because she was in a video clip that had gone viral when arresting somebody, and so she got a lot of fame and notoriety, and so, you know, people weren't happy with that. A lot of people got passed over because of her quick rise to fame, and they didn't think that was right. As we go through this series, more and more stuff like that happens, and it gets much more kind of gruesome. There's a lot of like physical kind of retribution going on. That aside, the investigation was very good. I'm enjoying watching them figure out these things. Plus, her partner is like in a retirement arc. He's like counting down the days as you go through the series, and it kind of scares me a little bit because I'm like, I hope, you know, he makes it to his retirement. I really enjoy the relationship that the partners have with each other also. And yeah, really enjoyed this one. Ended up giving it 4 stars. If you remember what I had said about Lost Hills, I had listened to that one on audiobook. And so this is the first one that I was reading with my eyeballs. I did not have an audiobook copy available to me with this one. Eve really, in my head, while I'm reading, is a lot like Jane Rizzoli from the Rizzoli and Isle series by Tess Gerritsen? I think that's the name. Whenever I'm reading Eve, I picture Angie Harmon playing Jane Rizzoli on the TV. The way that she talks is very, very similar to how I have experienced Jane Rizzoli on the television, and how I read Jane when I was reading The Surgeon for March Mystery Madness. And her partner also reminds me of her partner on the TV show. So I'm having kind of a weird kind of experience with this, because when I had listened to Lost Hills, obviously you have a narrator who's presenting a character, and then you get that voice in your head, right? But for whatever reason, that completely went out the window, and now Eve is just like Jane Rizzoli to me. They act the same, they kind of talk the same. Her partner and her banter is very similar, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just kind of weird because I'm picturing, you know, Jane Rizzoli, not Eve Ronin. It's still a good series. I'm enjoying it so far, and so I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I should go back to the audiobooks. I would have to purchase them myself. I am enjoying the series enough that I think I might go ahead and make that investment. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience on that one. And then the last thing that I've read since I talked to you last was the second book in the Zodiac Academy series by Caroline Peckham and Susanne Valenti. This one, I believe, is called Ruthless. I listened to the dramatized adaptation version, which was available on Hoopla. So I think I had talked to you about this the last time I sat down for a diary entry, that the dramatized adaptation versions of these audiobooks, they include background and ambiance noise. They include some musical excerpts and things like that to kind of enhance your experience of the story. Now, I enjoyed the story. The story I thought was much better than my experience with the first book. The bullying kind of came off a touch, and we focused more on getting to have the girls kind of get closer to figuring out what order they are, and get to hone their abilities a little bit more. We get a little bit of learning about some of the other people that are involved currently, and how the area that they're in, which is called Solaria, is being governed and things like that. I much prefer that type of story than all of the bullying that was happening in the first one. So this second installment was much more enjoyable for me. However, the dramatized adaptations I do not think are for me on first read of a story. Now, I know there are other dramatized adaptations out there for other series, like A Court of Thorns and Roses has dramatized adaptations of their audiobooks as well as regular ones. The Janine Frost Night Huntress series also has dramatized adaptations of those audiobooks. I have not listened to any of the other dramatized adaptations. This is my first one. And I do not think that it was a good choice for me to read this as my first experience with this installment. However, it was what was available to me, and so that's what I listened to. Yeah, I don't think it added anything for me. In fact, I think the dramatized adaptation took away from me absorbing the story for the first time. So I think on like reread of the story, I'm probably going to get a lot more. There were some things that were just really distracting. And so, yeah, I do think the dramatized adaptations would offer like another level of enjoyment of a story that you've like maybe experienced once or twice. You know, something a little bit different. I know I'm always looking for ways to enhance my experience when I'm doing a reread. And so a lot of times I'll, you know, read my first way through physically, and then on my reread I will pick up the audiobooks. This would be like a third option. And it's basically like listening to a TV show. Maybe it's kind of like how they did like radio shows, you know, back in history. I kind of feel like that's almost like how a dramatized adaptation audiobook is like. It was interesting, but I think I'm going to reserve doing any more dramatized adaptation listenings until after I've experienced the story once without that. So, I enjoyed the story, gave it 4 stars. It's 4 solid stars this time. I think the first book in the Zodiac Academy series was like a 3.5 for me. But again, there's lots and lots of bullying in that one, and it just grated on my nerves. But the second installment was much better. So that's everything that I've read since I talked to you last. So now, what am I currently reading? So, like I said, we are going through the Eve Ronin books since we have them out from the library. So now I'm on book 3, which is Gated Prey. In this one, Eve and her partner are kind of looking into some home invasion burglaries in upscale areas. And so the story opens up where Eve and her partner are on an undercover op, and they're kind of playing the role of an affluent couple to try to bait the people who are doing this. And so really, really interesting. I'm enjoying this one. I am 7 chapters in. I'm going to start chapter 8, page 69. These are relatively short, but I am enjoying this one a lot. So looking forward to getting more into that one. And then for my audiobook, I went ahead and used an Audible credit to purchase the 3rd book in the Zodiac Academy series, which I think is called The Reckoning, if I'm not mistaken. I purchased the normal audiobook. So the normal audiobook has 2 narrators. And so we have a female narrator who's doing all of the like points of view from the sisters. And then we have male narrators who are doing points of view from the heirs. And I'm much preferring this style of audiobook right now for where I am with this series and kind of absorbing it for the first time. This audiobook style works better for me, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't even know like where I am with this one. Let me see if I can pull it up. But yeah, it's working much better for me. I am on chapter 17, so I am listening to it on Audible. Yeah, it says I have 4 hours and 16 minutes left, so I should finish that one up this week. And then I think I had mentioned to you that I am going to be approaching the Zodiac Academy series on a recommended reading order by Jamie Johnson, who has a video out. I believe her handle is That Girl Reads. I think that's what her handle is, but I'll link the video that I'm referencing down below, because she suggested that this was the most like emotionally damaging order to read this series in. Plus, it is the way to read it without any spoilers. So there's basically a whole reading order for the 3 series that are set in Solaria, which is where the story takes place, and all 3 series kind of intertwine with each other. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually really enjoying the story right now. It is, you know, an academy setting. They're going through tests right now which I'm finding very interesting. This is kind of like their like weeding of the class, and if you can't pass these tests, you can't stay at the academy. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of these tests. Where I am, the girls have just finished their first one, and so they're really like trying to hone their abilities and see what works for them and learning more about how to hone those skills. Just really, really enjoyable. Definitely some things that I haven't enjoyed so far in this book, but I think you're meant to not enjoy those things. So I'm still enjoying this installment more than the first one. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one and then figure out what I'll pick up next. So that is everything I've read. That's everything I'm reading. So I guess it's time for another Yarnie update. Okay, so let's start off with my Muppets bag from Utterly Adorable Knits. So in this bag is the sock project that I'm currently working on. These are my Little Muppet socks. And so let me refresh your memory. This is the first sock that I have finished. So the colorway is called Little Muppets. It's from Moose and You yarns on their sturdy sock base, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. And so we've got the basically like Muppet Babies colors. So that one's done. And then for the heels and toes, I'm going to be playing Yarn Chicken. This is what I have left. This is Nettle Onion Sock yarn in their like black color. And so that's what I've got. So where I am with this is what I've got. I have put in the heel, which is Kay Jones's butterfly heel, and this is how far I am down the leg. So I was here when I talked to you last, so I did a couple of rows, put in that heel, and now I'm working my way down the foot. I have about 10 more rows before I put in my toe. So this is almost done. I should be able to finish this week. I would have finished it yesterday, but we did go out and about yesterday, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. But yeah, just enjoying the colors. You know, every time I see the green, it's Kermit, pink Miss Piggy, and the orange Skeeter or Beaker. I don't know about the gray though. Maybe it's Sam the Eagle. But yeah, enjoying the Muppets. Very, very bright colors also. And so I should be done with that this week. And so that is whip number 1. And then whip number 2 is the same whip that I showed you last week in my Nutcracker bag from Stitch in the High Notes. This is my daughter's Something Squishy. It is the Lagoon pattern from Drops Design, which is a free pattern on their website. So this is what we've got, just a reminder. I only did a couple of rows, so I was here when I talked to you last, and I've done this much. We have had her hold this up to herself, and I think I'm just going to finish this color and then go to the ribbing, because it is long enough. I'm technically supposed to do 12 inches from this point, but this is a men's pattern. I'm doing the men's version of this pattern because there's a men's and a women's, and daughter had preferred the look of the men's, and so that's what we're doing, men's small. This is more than enough long for her. So once I get to the end of this color, we're going to go ahead and do the ribbing and cast off the body. But really, really enjoyable. I'm loving how this looks. It is very, very squishy. We are doing this in Karen Cakes, the Karen Big Cakes. So the cake was this wide. This is in the Nightberry, I believe, colorway. Yes, Nightberry colorway. And I am on our second cake of 3. So this is what I've got left so far. So I'm just gonna I am working from the outside on these, and so once I get to the gray is when I'm going to do the ribbing. So then this is what's going to be left of this skein. And then I just got to figure out how I'm going to do the sleeves and stuff, because like I had mentioned before, small circumference with these long like color changes, we're going to have longer repeats of the color down the sleeve. I don't think daughter's going to mind that all too much, but yes, that is what we've got. That is where we're at. I am a little bit concerned about the next steps on this one, just because I believe I need to do some brioche decreases before I get to the ribbing, because of the number of stitches and things like that. And I was kind of reading through the instructions, and I'm not sure that I'm clear on what exactly needs to be done, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I really love how this looks. I do intend on making one for myself at some point, but so far so good. Really enjoying this one, and daughter really enjoys it as well. So those are my 2 works in progress. That's all that I worked on over the last couple weeks. I don't have much like knitting mojo lately. Like the sock I was able to do during meetings and stuff, so I was able to get a bit done, because like one week I had 2 or 3 meetings every day, and it was just so yeah, but enjoying working on these projects. And so since I don't have a lot left to talk to you about on the knitting front, or any kind of yarny front, I will share with you a little bit of a yarn haul that I picked up yesterday. So we were out and about yesterday, and there was a Joann's near where we were, and I haven't been to Joann's in ages. And I was actually looking for some plastic canvas, because I wanted to try to DIY something in regards to our pin trading. And I was looking for plastic canvas, and I thought, oh, maybe they have some plastic canvas left. And so we went inside. This particular Joann's is pretty new. It had just like opened up last year, I think. And it was really nice Joann's. But of course, you know, they were sold out of a lot of stuff. And as I was looking around, I noticed they had some yarn. And I was like, oh geez. I didn't prepare myself to go into Joann's with yarn. Like, I thought that their yarn would be gone. I mean, seeing all these people like have these yarn hauls and stuff, and I was like, oh, they're not going to have anything I want, you know, no wool. They'll probably have acrylic, but no wool. Well, I was wrong. They had wool, and so I purchased some, and so I'll share that with you right now. So first thing that I saw were these knit and crochet essential wool balls. These are 50-gram balls, 84 yards, and they're worsted weight. I've never used this yarn, but they had them in black, and I thought, okay, let me just like pick up what I think would be a sweater's quantity for me. And so I picked up 29 balls of this black. Yeah. It's probably more than what I'd need, but I figured I'd err on the side of caution and have more instead of, you know, not have enough. And in any case, it's black. Daughter could use whatever I don't use on a garment for myself. If there's extra, or if there's not enough for her sweater, I could do some sort of color work with it, right? And so, yes, 29 balls of this black yarn. They also had some Patons Croix. So, Patons Croix I do enjoy for socks. And so I picked up 4 balls of the Patons Croix in this like red kind of marled colorway. This is geranium colors. And this is 75% wool, 25% nylon, 152 meters, 166 yards. I enjoy Patton's Kroy for socks. It is a plumper sock yarn, and so I picked up one set for myself and one set for my daughter. And then I found Patton's Kroy FX in this like blue purple kind of colorway. A lot of the skeins were like more purple than blue, and so I picked up these two. I think this top one has a little bit more purple than the bottom, but these were the closest. All of the other skeins had a lot of purple. They were majority purple and hardly any blue. And so, yeah, we'll see. What I might do is alternate skeins on the sock so that it incorporates a little bit more, because even the tone of the blue is a little bit different, as you can see. But this is Celestial colors. So I picked up a set for myself. Daughter did not want a pair of socks in that color. And then as I was walking around, I also found this in a different area. It's just like a kind of nutty ash brown, and this is flax. So I picked up some of that for myself. I figured even if I didn't make solid socks with this, that I could use it for heels and toes or something like that. And so, yes, I picked up some of that. I think the yarn was like 50% off. And so, not too bad at all. And then the last thing I picked up were 5 skeins of True Boo from Lion Brand yarn. This is 100% rayon from Bamboo. This feels really, really nice. And it's got such a nice, like, sheen. I picked it up in the color Slate because I thought this would be a really, really nice, like, color to, like, have maybe a tank top in. And so I picked up 5 skeins, thinking that that would be more than enough for a tank top for me. I basically based my yardage for this on the Gemini shirt that I'm working on. So I bought as much as I'd need to make one of those. Not intending to make one of those, but just figured that if I was going to do another top, a short sleeve top, or even a tank, I would need as much as that, if not a little less. So 5 skeins of this. This has 241 yards per skein. And so I have already checked Ravelry. I have found a tank top pattern that I think will work very well with this yarn. And so I'm really, really excited. I think this is a really good color for my skin also. And it's not black. It's gray, and it's a nice, like, cool gray. It's not too warm. It almost leans a little blue in person as well, which I quite enjoy. And so that is what I picked up as far as yarn. And then, of course, as we are walking around, I see some needles that they still have. Now, most of the needles that they had were the thicker needles, like size 11, 12, 13. But I did find some interchangeable needle tips. They are like Susan Bates or Big Twist brand, which I've never used the Big Twist brand needles. I didn't even know they were in existence. I've used Susan Bates, but I fixed Susan Bates ones. And so I thought, let me just pick them up. I don't even know like what cords the Susan Bates ones use. I haven't even tried them on the interchangeable cords that I have, but I figured if they don't, I can do some research and pick up the cords. But they had these Susan Bates ones, and they're just like unpackaged sets of interchangeable needles. So this is a size 8, size 9, size 10, and size 4. So these were like $3 to $4 marked down. So I thought, they'll be nice to have. I do quite enjoy an aluminum needle. And as far as the Big Twist ones, I got 5. These are a bit shorter. These are only 4-inch needles. So I got a 5. I got an 8. I got a 6 and a 7. And I thought those would be nice to just have. I'm sure I'll be able to find some cords that'll fit in them. But yeah, can never go wrong with any cords. And these, I don't even know how much they were, but I figured, you know what the heck, never have enough needles. And so that is what I picked up at Joann's. It's probably gonna be the last time I go to Joann's. I don't know, there wasn't a repurposed yarn, or recycled, not repurposed, recycled yarn that Lion Brand does. They had this like green color. It said it was 100% polyester, but they were bagged up. The skeins were bagged individually, so I couldn't really feel the yarn. But, you know, a recycled yarn really intrigues me. Like, what does that feel like? You know, obviously, it's better for the environment, right? It's recycled product. And I kind of regret not picking it up. I was telling my mom and my daughter today, I'm like, I should have picked up that recycled yarn. I may go back for it. Daughter wasn't too keen on the color. When I mentioned it to her, when I was talking to her about it today, she was just like, she doesn't think I should go for it. So I don't know. I know I can get it at a regular discount whenever the Lion Brand website has sales, because I do purchase from the Lion Brand website. But yeah, I thought, why not try it at a discounted price that is better than a discount that I would get on a Lion Brand sale. But yeah, I'm still thinking about that one. They also had their 100% alpaca yarn that Lion Brand does there, but they were only like 9 skeins, and I think I needed like 12 or 13 as far as yardage. And so I ended up not picking that up, but it felt really nice. I really liked the look. It was a nice, like, cool, light gray color. So unfortunately, that did not come home with me either. But I am excited to use this yarn, the Knit and Crochet Essential Wool. It does feel really nice. It's like really soft and squishy, and I am looking forward to finding something to make with this. Even if it's black, you know, I'm tending to wear a lot more black, especially, you know, with maybe having to go back to the office. Black is definitely going to be a color I'm leaning towards. And so yeah, that is everything as far as a Yarnie update goes. I think now it's time for some mystery pins. Okay, I think we're going to call this section wishing on a mystery pin, or wishing upon a mystery pin. It's kind of talking to my daughter about it, because I do think we're going to bring more mystery pin content or pin trading content to this channel. And so wishing on or wishing upon a mystery pin, I'm kind of leaning toward wishing upon a mystery pin, because it's kind of a play on when you wish upon a star, but we're still kind of ironing that out. In any case, when we were at the Disneyland Resort the last time, we also picked up these Starbucks cups. So you can see this one says Disneyland and this one says California Adventure. So these are Starbucks plastic tumblers. And these, on the top here it says mystery pin set inside. So these cups have 2 mystery pins inside the cup. So that's why I picked up two different cups. Hopefully 2 different chances at getting a mystery pin that I'd like. I have no idea what the pins like that were available with this in its entirety were. I did see 2 pins because they were in the display cases with the cups, but I haven't seen like a chart that tells you what all the mystery pins are. So I basically just unscrewed this one, and there's the mystery pin pack there. And it looks like there is a picture diagram of the pins that are available. So let me pull this out. So this is from the Disneyland cup. And this is Starbucks mystery pins. And so it looks like there is a castle, there's a small world, like the facade of the ride, tiki room, teacups, Madame Leota, the Yeti from Matterhorn. I think this is the Jungle Cruise, and Astro Blasters. I think those are the attractions that are on this one. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to go ahead and open this baggie. I don't know if they're wrapped or not. They are not. So let's just pull them out. First one. I can't see that. Oh, it's the Matterhorn Yeti. That's fun. Okay, so there's that one. And then the second one. Trying to grab it by the backer. Is that Madame Leota? Yes! Yes, yes, yes. That's the one I wanted. So Madame Leota. So really, really good on that. So we have the Yeti from Matterhorn Bobsleds and Madame Leota. So really happy to have those. I'm not going to purchase any more cups just to get the mystery pins. Like, that was like my one shot. So got my Disneyland cup. I got the Madame Leota pin, which is really the one that I wanted. And so that is great. So now we have the California Adventure Cup. And I should probably show you like what the cups look like. So like if you go around, it kind of looks like the pins, right? So this is like the Tiki Room, the facade of Small World, and then you've got like the hippo from In the Small World, and the teacups. We've got the Yeti and the carousel and Madame Leota and Astro Blasters and the castle. So that's the Disneyland side. And then on the California Adventure side, you have Carthay Circle, the Grizzly, the Cars, Cones, Cozy Cones, the Little Mermaid ride with Sebastian. There's a Baymax. Oh, is there a Baymax pin? If there's a Baymax pin, we're going to hope for the Baymax pin, because you know we're collecting that with San Francisco. We got a Mickey Waffle, the Incredibles ride, though. Is that the... Yeah, that's got to be the Pixar Pier. And so, yeah. So let's see what's inside this one. Again, the bag is hanging off the bottom of the straw. And so this one also has some on there, and it's everything that I just showed you that was on the cup. So there is a Baymax pin. So that's the one we're hoping for. So let's see what we've got. Again, I'm going to try to pull it out by the rubber backing. So the first pin we have, if I can just get my hand on it. Is that the Grizzly? Yeah, that's the Grizzly. So we got the Grizzly. And it does say Disney's California Adventure up here, and it says Starbucks down here. So we've got a Grizzly. And not a Baymax, but I think that, yeah, that's a Cozy Cone. So the Cars Land. So we didn't get the Baymax. But maybe we'll find it. You never know as far as pin trading goes. And so, yeah, really, really enjoyable. I'm trying to see if there's like a number on the back. I don't see one. But, yes. Very, very happy with the pins. So that was fun. I'm very, very happy. Especially with my Madame Leota. Because you know how much I love the Haunted Mansion. Too bad we weren't able to get the Baymax, but like I said, maybe we'll find it on a pin board or something. That would be really nice. Maybe not. I mean, you obviously have to buy the cups in order to get the pins, but I know I've seen some videos where there are people who have like 5 cups, so they've got 10 pins, so maybe they've got some duplicates, but who knows? You know, you never know. And so, yeah, regardless, I enjoyed myself opening some mystery pins. I've got 2 new cups to use, and I've got some mystery pins, including my favorite Madame Leota. So very, very happy with that. And so, yeah, I am excited for more mystery pin unwrappings, and we're definitely going to do some in the future. And so I hope you enjoy that type of content. And I enjoy it a lot. I'm really, really enjoying like seeing people's pin collections on YouTube, and just people who go out to the park and show like what's on the boards. Even the people in Florida, because a lot of times there are collections in Florida that aren't in the California parks, and it's just really, really nice to like know what's out there. But I'm kind of getting the feeling that with more videos that I watch about pin collecting and pin trading, you really kind of need to know like a lot about the pins, about how rare they are and how valuable they are. And to me, that kind of takes out the enjoyment of just the fun trade, you know? I just collect what I like. I mean, to me, that's what the enjoyment of pin collecting is. I don't care like if it's not what they're calling a chaser, which is like a special edition rare pin or something like that, super chaser. I just like what I like, and I'll collect what I like. And you know, I don't want to get to the point where I'm like, oh, that's, you know, a fake, or it's not as valuable, or things like that. To me, that just will take the enjoyment out of it. So I'm just gonna collect what I like and enjoy my collection as it is. So with that being said, I think that's pretty much all pin talk. And we'll get to a little bit of life update. So I did have an in-person meeting in the office this week. It did solidify a little bit for me what's going on. I am moving positions within the company, but I'm going to be doing basically the same thing that I'm doing now. So it's not going to be a super different change, I don't think. At least it's not being marketed to me that way. But it all is contingent on them getting a replacement for my coworker. So my coworker is retiring in 2 weeks? 3 weeks. 3 weeks today. And no replacement yet. So my move to the new position won't happen until they replace my coworker. So everything's kind of on hold right now. And so, yeah, I thought, oh my gosh, you know, time's ticking down. Like, you know, I don't have a lot of time. Like, what's going on? And now they're telling me, oh, it's going to be contingent on when they replace her. And so that, I don't know. Does it give me a little bit more time? I don't know, but at least it's a more solid like date. Nothing's happening until they replace her. And so that gave me a little bit more security. Plus, they also said that when I move to that new position, basically the team that I'm working on now is going to move with me. So it's not going to be a super huge change as far as what I'm being told. Some of my work duties will probably change. I'm actually thinking that I might actually have less duties because I'll be working with more people. So on top of the team that I currently work with, they're going to introduce a couple of other teams for me to work with, and then I will also be working on a team when that move happens. So it's going to be a little bit different. I'm kind of, at a standstill. Just gotta wait till that happens, and then see what it's like. It should make my workload a little bit better. I'll have more people, because right now what I do for my team, I'm the only one that does it. So there's a lot of pressure, right, when you're the only one. But with this new change, I should have a team that can take over for me if I'm sick, if I'm on vacation. Because right now, when I'm on vacation, everything stops on my desk. And so, I get behind really bad if I take a vacation. And that shouldn't be the case moving forward with the new move to the new position. So I'm feeling a lot better about how this is going. But, it remains to be seen how this is going to work, when it's going to happen. But I don't feel as stressed about it. It'll just happen when it happens, I guess. We're just continuing business as normal until that happens. So, yeah. It's not really a solid answer, but I feel more like secure, like knowing exactly when that transition is going to happen, instead of counting down the days and, oh my gosh, like what happens if things aren't set by the time my coworker retires, which is still a possibility. I have no idea. It sounds like there's stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm not aware of, but just gotta wait and see. So I'm in a wait and see game right now. Other than that, I did, with this change, this will probably mean that I'm going to have to be in the office when that transition happens. And so I think I told you a few months ago there was a work from home, back to the office initiative. And I was given a reprieve because the rest of my team were too far away from the office. And so instead of me just going and being alone, not having any team there, they gave me a reprieve. So that's why I'm still able to work from home. But with the new change in job position, whenever that happens, I'm going to have to go back to the office. I think at least 3 days a week. Not too happy about that, but there are other people from the new team that I'm supposedly moving to that do actually work in the office. And so it will be nice to have a little bit of a collaborative effort. I met one of the ladies in person when I was at the office, so that was nice. So at least I know somebody. And then, so since I'm going to have to be out and about a lot more, I went to go get my eyes checked. Because I've noticed, like, when we were at Disneyland this last time, that my distance vision is not very good. I'm at home most of the time, and I work from home, so I don't really need a lot of distant vision. My vision with my current glasses is just fine for when I'm at home. But I've noticed that now that I'm out and about more, my distance vision has changed quite a bit. And so I did go to get my eyes checked. I got a new prescription. I'm getting a new pair of glasses. And so we're looking forward to that. So I think they said it'll be here in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. Just my vision has changed quite a bit as far as the distance goes, but my non-distance vision hasn't changed all that much. So it's kind of caused a little bit of like an issue, I guess, with the prescription, but I decided on one route to go on, and so that's what I'm sticking with, and hopefully that works out for me in regards to all the choices that they gave me as far as my new glasses. And so I've got new glasses coming, so you'll probably see them in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for them, actually. I've had like these glasses, or this style of glass, for quite a bit. I had a red pair, and then I had a blue pair, and then I bought a red pair, because I quite like how these look on my face. But I think it's time for a change, and figured since I'm getting a new prescription, I might as well get some new frames. And so that's what I did. So that's fun and exciting. And so yeah, I was out and about a lot yesterday. It was nice to be out and about, not to go to the eye doctors. I hate doctor's appointments in general. But, getting to go to Joann's one last time, being out and about and seeing like crafty items. I treated myself a little bit, which was nice. But yeah, so some happiness, some retail therapy for all of the stress, but I enjoyed myself. I'm looking forward to my pickups. I enjoyed my mystery pin unboxing. And yeah, so ending this week on a high note, I think that's where I'm going to leave you today. So let me know down in the comments below what you've been up to, what you've been reading, what you've been working on. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, let me know if you've been to Disneyland or Disney's California Adventure. And if so, what is your favorite ride? I would really love to know. You know I love the Haunted Mansion. So I think that'll do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always.